I think these next 2 years specifically, Michigan football
It's the window.
is going to be at its peak. They got the best offensive line in the country, but I expect Michigan to win 12 games. Why is that a bad thing?
People don't have expectations for things they don't care about.
Michigan's combined record this year versus Iowa, Penn State, Michigan State, and Ohio State. So 4 games. Penn State, Iowa, MSU, OSU will be
4-0. They're going 4-0. Michigan State, as we'll talk about, and even talking to Michigan State fans, YT Sparty, they're going to take a step back from what they were last year. You can't lose a guy like K9. K9 is arguably the best running back they've ever had. Like the season that K9 had last year, once you start to look back at what he really did, you'll realize it was actually a spectacular, amazing season. You can't lose a guy like that and replace him with an unknown. Their offensive line, though ranked 15th going into the Big Ten, which we'll talk about as well, they're just average guys to me. Can't trust the quarterback, although I do like him. Can't trust him. I'm telling you, they'll beat them. Penn State, not worried about them. Iowa, I'm not worried about them on the road, unless it was a night game. Not worried about them as well. And for some reason, when it comes to Ohio State, I know they got the best offense in the country. I know they got C.J. Stroud. I know they got 3 guys that can win the Heisman. Count them 3. Jackson Smith and Jigba, C.J. Stroud, as well as Travion Henderson, the running back. They still soft. And you can't win games in the trenches if you're soft.
I have a 3-1, and I got them losing to Ohio State.
Why would you have them do that?
Because I just think Ohio State was embarrassed last year. I think they'll be out for blood this year. I think it'll be a closer game than most people will think it'll be. I think Michigan will be on the short end. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope my mind has changed by the end of this year. We're talking it's July right now. I hope when we're talking in October, early November, I hope I say it. Nope, I like Michigan's chances. But right now, I got him at 3-1.
I know this will shock you and
2-2,
4-0,
and come as a surprise to many of you who are watching this. 4-0. I've got them going 4-0.
There we go.
I've got Michigan going 12-0.
I do too.
Winning the Big Ten championship and making another appearance in the college football playoff. I think these next 2 years specifically, Michigan football
It's the window.
is going to be at its peak. The next 2 years are going to be really, really good years for Michigan football, and I don't think they waste it. I remember that feeling that they had last year after beating Ohio State, and I felt like the tide was turning. And I know all of the nonsense of the offseason has come and kind of rained a little bit on that parade, but once the games actually start again, once the teams actually go on the field again, I think all the off-season nonsense and Harbaugh to the NFL, to the Vikings, to the Raiders, or whatever the case may be.
I forgot about that already.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I think that all goes away, and then you just line up. They got the best offensive line in the country. Perhaps. They got one of
third best backfield.
Their wide receiver, their offense is stacked, and I don't think their defense is going to be that far off. So I'll say 12-0. That's my expectation.
And here's the interesting thing about it. I think this Big Ten championship team, this reigning defending Big Ten championship team, might be the most disrespected Big Ten returning championship team that there's been in the last 10 years. They won the Big Ten last year, yet they're still the underdog. Do you know what that does to the psyche of a player, of a coaching staff? You put those 122 players together with that coaching staff, with that campus, you put that together and say, you know what? They can bet on Ohio State. They can talk about the greatness of born on third base. We're coming.
Honolulu Blues Party says Ryan got to spread out the hot takes more. I don't think it's a hot take. We can talk more about it, Braylon, but my expectation for the Michigan Wolverines this year is 12-0.
He must have joined late, because that's exactly what I said when you first came.
Exactly.
If I got them going 4-0 them games, I'm going to lose any of the other ones.
Right. Michigan is here, at least for the next 2 years. They're the defending Big Ten champs, and I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. Yeah. And you can then, and we talked about this the other day, Bray, nobody ever wants to give any credit to anybody.
No.
Right? Jim Harbaugh won the Big Ten championship last year. Oh, but he only did it in 7 years. It was his 7th year before he did it, so it doesn't
Who
count.
cares? He did
What does
it.
that even mean?
And no one had Michigan winning the Big Ten before the season started. So it's not like there's some loaded team that was like, oh, well, it took 7 years. Nobody had them winning last year. I actually had Michigan State beating Michigan before the season started.
Is it bad to have that expectation as a fan? And again, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I'm asking. I'm just talking about from the fan's perspective. As a Michigan fan, my expectation is what it is. For the Detroit Lions, you may have an expectation that they lose 12 games.
Right.
But I expect Michigan to win 12 games. Why is that a bad thing?
It's not to me.
Why? Again, can anybody explain that to me?
Yeah.
Maz, can you explain it to me? Why Michigan State people would hammer me or us because we have an expectation for our team?
You know
what does it matter to
That's
them?
because they have a lot of hate in their hearts against Michigan. It's that simple.
Here you go.
Against the Michigan fan itself. That's plain and simple what it is. It's just the old rivalry.
People, and I'm going to dial it down before I get too excited. Yeah, it's haircut day, fellas. I got to get a haircut. But people don't have expectations for things they don't care about. Things that they don't care about, or things that they don't have confidence in, or things that they don't trust. You've heard this expression when you go see a movie that you don't know anything about, and you just go to see it. I don't have any expectations, and it surprises you. Hope it surprises you, but you don't have expectations because you don't really care that much, or because you're not really that confident. Things you have expectations in, like your kids, like your parents, like your job, like yourself. You have expectations. I expect myself to do this. I expect my son, because I put this in front of him, because I put him in these schools, I put him around these things, I expect my son to excel at something in life because I'm confident in my son, because I care about my son. Things that you're not confident in, things that you don't care about, is when you use the term, I don't really have any expectation, because you don't trust Michigan State. That's why.
Jesse Adams writes in the YouTube chat, okay, Ryan, you going to give Tuck any credit for going 11-2 in his second year? Yes.
Hey, tell him to hold on, because we're going to talk about Big Ten coaches.
We're going to do that next. We are going to do it. But yes, he deserves a crap ton of credit for essentially going 11-2 in his first year, because that 2020 season was all, stacked against him from the start.
Yeah.
Getting hired so late because D'Antonio screwed you.
But we weren't talking about him.
Yeah, I'm not. Again, why does it have to be going back to a Michigan State conversation?
That's what they do.
I'm not talking about Michigan State.
No.
I'm talking about my own team. I'm talking about my own team. I'm not referring to Michigan State at all. I didn't even bring up Michigan State. You brought them up. So I guess there's a sports, and pick the Pistons, okay? If you're a Pistons, don't you have an expectation that things are going to be a little bit better this year?
Yeah.
Why would anybody say that that's a bad thing?
They wouldn't.
If a fan expects greatness out of their particular team, what business is it of any fan base to come at you and say you're wrong about that? Or good luck with that.
100%.
You just say good luck with that. I hope, whatever.
I want to. What's a consist? Because I don't want to use this team because then it goes too far. But for the sake, the Baltimore Ravens, they have expectations of winning the AFC North every year and making a playoff every year, and they're right to have those expectations because they're top to bottom, probably the best organization in football. They have a great head coach. They have great players, great talent, great support. So they're right to have those type of expectations. Now, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you go into the season with no expectations because it's always a you-know-what type of show. That's what we're talking about. You care about one because you have the confidence in one, and you don't have the confidence in the other. That's all it is.